All right, traders, before I go into the watch list for Wednesday, January 8th, I told you guys I was going to start the video with a lesson, an important lesson, I think, so I'm going to do it. DATS had this crazy move today, right? When you look at the daily, you think, wow, why didn't I grab it here, 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 whatever. But when you go to intraday, things are a little bit different. And as things are unfolding, we all know it's harder as a trader to see things until they've already happened, right? So anyway, adding extended hours on because it did gap up a bit. This was really, had this, actually Sahil called the opening range breakout right about there, which is somewhere around 270 something, and it went pretty quickly to 340. Might have had a nice trade there. It comes all the way back and completely reverses that whole move, chopping around, breaks the high of day right back into the range again. It definitely had massive relative volume, but there was no news on this. So at this point, I'm still thinking I'm not going to call a pullback play in it, right? It's just not. I'm scared of a rug pull, no news. I feel like it's being pumped, right? But then it comes up here, and by now it's traded, I don't know, 100 million shares. And look at the buy zone between the 8 and the 20 on 5-minute candles, okay? Pay attention to that area before it gets here. As a matter of fact, I took a screenshot to show you the buy zone circled right between the blue and red line where I called it, right? I called it before it got there. But why? Because that's the first visit to the 5's buy zone really since it got legs, really since it started to take off, okay? It's still in a range here and then starts to nicely climb. And so then at one point it'd run from $3 to $6. So now it's doubled, it's got massive volume. Even if it's a Discord room pump or something, the volume's heavy enough now and bulls are firmly in charge. I'm going to take the 5's buy zone pullback here between the 8 and the 20. Typically my bid goes right in the middle and my stop goes below the red line. You know, I give it maybe a dime below the red line, right? But look at the buy zone. Once it gets going here, it didn't come to the buy zone really this entire time. From starting here, it was in it here, but that's before it really broke out, right? So not one visit to the 5's buy zone until it's basically doubled, massive volume. So that's why I called it there. I want everybody to understand that. It wasn't some random call. It was, okay, now bulls are firmly in charge, and it hasn't been in the 5's buy zone for a couple hours, right? So that entry was somewhere around 492 was the middle of the 5's buy zone. Probably about 30 cents risk, and you can see what it did. It went to 934. So what's the point? This thing doubled today on massive volume, and you still didn't miss a great trade if you took that first buy zone pullback to the 5's buy zone once it proved itself, right? Once bulls were firmly in charge. Missing this entire double, still great trade. As a matter of fact, it basically doubled again, right? I wanted to share that because I don't want people to think I just take any 5's buy zone. I take them when it makes sense, right? All right, so anyway, one of the tricks is it's got to have high relative volume. It's got to be really strong on the day. I prefer it to have news, but at this point, I already mentioned why it didn't matter that much. And then I wanted to not have visited that 5's buy zone for quite a while. I will be bidding on that first 5's buy zone visit every time. All right. Also, let me slide this up for new people in chat so you understand what we're all about in the chat room. Pause the video if you need to read that. And I am going to go to the watch list here. By the way, Sahil gave a great 2's buy zone on HOTH also at around 236. I guess I can show you that real quick, but I need to get to the watch list video. So this one had a huge rip, definitely closing way off its highs. But if you switch to 2's, hell, I might have a screenshot of this. I do. There's another one. This was my screen with the 5 charts on it. This was pre-market, had a nice pop, and then it really got going. But once it broke the opening range, and this is somewhere close to 10:30 in the morning, so now it's really ripping. Same thing, right? It's in a range, pops, then you think, oh, it's going to fail. Okay, now bulls are really winning, right? So this pullback didn't get to the 5's buy zone, but Sahil gave the 2's buy zone idea. This is my 2-minute chart over here. Look at that. Right in the middle of 2's buy zone, somewhere around 236. You missed that initial breakout, the opening range breakout, and this second move, you still get a nice trade, right? Maybe even a better trade. So focus on those, but make sure they meet the parameters. And some great call outs today in the chat. So anyway, all that said, let me go to the watches. It's very small list, the smallest I've had in a long time. But let me go back to SPY, probably because we had such an ugly day in the SPY. I don't know what the Dow was down. The Dow was only down 178, but NASDAQ was down 375. And a big part to NVIDIA, which you can see that's a nasty candle for NVIDIA, but it did gap up to all-time highs before doing that. Could probably even put that on Bounce Watch tomorrow, but we'll see. I don't have it on the list. But anyway, I think after a weak day like that, but the market's been strong, so I don't have a lot of bounce plays, right? Because I don't have stuff that's down 3 or 4 days in a row after a strong move, because the market's been really strong up until this nasty push down today. So anyway, with that in mind, small watch list. CRMD, nice breakout today, I think on earnings. Closing slightly above its open, certainly could have a follow-through day tomorrow. SEDG, inside day after the gap up. Solars were kind of strong today for a while. DATS, it's stupid extended, but I'll have it on a watch, for the next 10 days probably, looking for an A+ setup. Fubo also really extended. This is not something I would call, hey, this is a great chart setup. It's an in-play stock. They definitely had good news, but now it's really extended. As a day trader, I still want to have that one on watch, all right, even though it looks very toppy right now. I would argue maybe the same thing with RR. A couple red days now, but I like him to come back to the moving averages before I really like him as a bounce play. Rivian, RIVN had a nice breakout 3 sessions ago, and then we've got 2 red days on declining volume. Could be a good bounce play tomorrow. GRR has been really slapped. I mean, it had a huge run, then had this nasty candle, then right back up to new all-time highs, and now you got a couple days lower, pretty close to where it bounced from last time and the 20-day. I'm not in love with this one, but I'm putting it on Bounce Watch. Same thing with PDYN, getting close to the 20-day. And this right here, over this was kind of a breakout spot, right, on the chart. And it's worked its way back to down to that breakout spot. And then lastly, I'm going to put SANA on watch because in after hours, as I'm talking to you, it's trading at $5.31 after a nice headline. That's it. Tiny list. Hopefully we'll find some gappers together in the pre-market tomorrow to add to this list. All right, have a great night. We'll see you in chat.